Hello everyone, I'm Vaidyanathan, and today I'll be talking about a MaxSat-based post-processing algorithm for computing heuristic tree depth. This is joint work with Stefan Zeider. We are a part of the Algorithms and Complexity group at the Technical University of Vienna. So let's look at the basic definition of tree depth first. The tree depth decomposition of a graph is a tree on the nodes of the graph, such that if any two vertices share an edge in the graph, then one is an ancestor of the other in the tree. For example, here is a graph G. Here is one valid tree depth decomposition. As you can see, the black and the blue lines together in tree T1 cover all the edges of graph G. The blue lines indicate the ancestor-descendant relationship. Here is another tree depth decomposition of the same graph G. So how do you evaluate which of these is better? To do that, we define the depth of a decomposition in terms of the height of the tree T. So the depth of decomposition T1 here is 4 and the depth of decomposition T2 is 3. The tree depth of a graph is then defined in terms of the lowest possible depth over all decompositions. So what is known about the tree depth? There exist methods which can compute the exact tree depth of a graph, one of which is based on SAT encodings, and another one, and a bunch of methods from the recent PACE challenge. The PACE challenge is an annual competition for parameterized algorithms. There are a number of heuristic methods for computing tree depth. So the simplest of which is derived from the depth first search algorithm. There are a bunch of separator based methods, and then again algorithms from the recent PACE challenge. So if you analyze the efficiency versus the optimality of the existing methods, the exact methods are quite high on optimality, but can only scale up to a small number of vertices, whereas the heuristic methods are quite scalable but lack in optimality. And our algorithm, which is SLIM, SAT-based local improvement method, slots in somewhere in between. Finally, a quick preview of the results. Here are a couple of instances from the PACE challenge, and our algorithm starts with a heuristic decomposition provided by DFS and improves on that. So we analyze the starting tree depth, the final tree depth, and the relative improvement expressed as a percentage of the starting tree depth. So here are the numbers, and as you can see, they look quite positive. And on average, over all the 200 or so instances, the relative improvement is around 52%. Further, our algorithm was able to provide a better tree depth than all the 55 participating PACE solvers for 3 of these instances. So why are we studying tree depth? Tree depth is a width parameter just like tree width, but it can be more useful in certain cases. For example, there are problems which are hard for bounded tree width graphs, but still tractable for bounded tree depth graphs. Further, tree depth has been extensively studied in the context of CSP under the name of pseudo tree height. Now we give a general idea of how our algorithm works. So we use a SAT solver to improve local parts of the decomposition obtained from the heuristic algorithm, and then we abstract or hide away the parts which have already been improved and work towards newer parts of the graph. This concept of SAT-based local improvement has been applied to other width parameters like tree width, branch width, and tree width bounded Bayesian network structure learning. However, apart from the general framework, the different width measures require entirely different approaches owing to the different combinatorics. Now we explore certain approaches that lead up to the final version of the algorithm. So first we fix a quantity called the budget, which is the size of the largest local instance, the encoding of which can be solved by a SAT solver reasonably quickly. A natural approach is then to pick the subtrees containing the leaves that fit within the budget as a local instance. For example, if this is an existing tree depth decomposition, and let's say the budget is 3, then we can pick this subtree to be one local instance. And then we use a SAT solver to improve the local instance and replace the previous subtree with the improved subtree from the SAT solver. But there is a problem with this approach, that we can only cover the subtrees which are near the leaves of the existing decomposition, and the nodes marked with the star cannot be reached by this approach. To remedy this, we come up with the concept of contraction, which is once a local instance has been improved, we contract it to a single node. For example, if this is an existing tree-depth decomposition with the dotted blue edge AY denoting that there is an edge between A and Y in the original graph, once we improve this local instance, we can contract it to a single node, and we proceed further by doing the same with this subtree rooted at B. While doing so, we also tag the new nodes with the depth of the subtree that was just contracted. So in this case, we contracted subtrees of depth 1, and this allows us to reach nodes which were previously unreachable. But now there is a new problem that some edges could be invalidated. For instance, let us assume that this subtree was improved to this particular subtree, and now we start expanding the subtree again. So as a first step, we expand the node C, and if you recall, in the original graph there was an edge between A and Y, which is currently not being respected by this tree-depth decomposition, and thus we have arrived at an invalid tree-depth decomposition. So how do we fix this problem? We come up with the concept of ancestry constraints. That is, while contracting a subtree, we keep track of all the edges that were going from outside the local instance to inside the local instance. So for example, in this case, when we contract the subtree rooted at C, because there is an edge going from A to Y, we add a directed arc from A to C to indicate that A must always be an ancestor of C. Now that we know the bookkeeping required to compute valid decompositions by a procedure, we define a generalized version of tree depth, which is based on label graphs, where a label graph can contain depth labels and ancestry constraints, and the tree depth of decomposition of a label graph is one that respects the ancestry constraints as well as the depth labels. So now the depth of a decomposition is no longer just the maximum number of nodes along any root to leaf path, but it must also take into account the depth labels of the nodes along the path. For example, this is a label graph G with the vertex B having a depth label of 3 and one ancestry constraint saying that C must be an ancestor of D. This is an invalid decomposition for this label graph as the ancestry constraint between C and D is violated. This is a valid decomposition of the graph with a depth of 5, and this is another valid decomposition of the same graph with a depth of 4. Now that we understand the problem, we need to express this in the form of a SAT encoding. To do that, we talk about an alternative representation of a tree depth decomposition, which is based on partitions, and it's called derivation. A weak partition of a set is a partition that need not cover the entire set, and a derivation is a sequence of weak partitions, the first weak partition being empty and the last weak partition containing the entire vertex set of the graph. To better elaborate the connection, we will be working with a small example. This is a tree depth decomposition, and this would be the corresponding derivation. The next condition that we need is called refinement. If any two vertices appear together in the ith layer, then they must appear together in all the layers above. So in this case, say for example, the vertex D and C appear together in this layer, and so do they appear together in the layer above them. The next condition that we need is that at most one vertex is forgotten between layers for each partition. In this case, the underlying vertices are the vertices that are forgotten, which means that they don't appear in any further layers below. And as you can see, there's at most one per partition. The point at which a vertex is forgotten corresponds to the level at which it appears in the tree depth decomposition. And finally, for any two vertices that share an edge, there must exist a partition which contains both the vertices and where one of them is forgotten. In this case, if you look at the edges BE and BC, partition P4 contains all three vertices B, C, and E, and B is forgotten in this partition, so it takes care of both these edges. What we saw so far was just to capture the vanilla tree depth notion. In our case, we need to extend this to capture the additional labels that we have added. So a vertex can only appear in a layer if its depth label is small enough, and an ancestry constraint between V and U forces V to be forgotten before U. And now we are finally ready to discuss the SAT encoding. So we need one set of variables of the form S of U, V, I, which is true if U and V appear together in the ith layer, and the variables of the form S of U, Ui, which is true if U appears anywhere in the ith layer. And now we describe the clauses of the encoding. This clause ensures that no two vertices appear together in the first layer, and every vertex pair appears together in the last layer, which is the condition D1. This clause ensures the refinement property that if two vertices appear together in the ith layer, they also appear together in the I plus 1th layer. This clause ensures that at most one of the vertices is forgotten per partition per layer, by saying that if U and V appear together in a layer, then at least one of U and V appear in the previous layer. And finally, this clause ensures the property required for the edges. This was the vanilla tree depth notion, and now the additional clauses for the label graphs. For depth labels, it's quite straightforward, and for the ancestry constraint, you ensure that if V appears in a layer, then U must also appear in the layer for any ancestry between V and U. Now, if you notice, the size of the SAT encoding depends on capital D and the depth labels, which could be unbounded, but we proved that we never need more than V plus 1 layers, where V is the number of vertices in the graph. To show this, we consider the case where D is bigger than V, because otherwise the condition is already satisfied, and we let delta denote the difference between D and V. We adjust all the depth labels by subtracting delta from them, and now we can prove that the old graph has a decomposition of depth D if and only if this new graph with the modified depth labels has a decomposition of depth V, and because of this, the SAT encoding of the new graph is bounded in size by the number of vertices alone and is independent of capital D and the depth labels. Visually, this can be seen as follows. The decomposition on the left has the unbounded depth labels, and the one on the right captures essentially the same decomposition with the modified depth labels. And now, putting it all together, we look at one pass of the final algorithm with the help of an example. Again, we have a graph G. Let us assume this is the initial heuristic decomposition. So first we pick a subtree that fits within the budget, which in this case is, let's say, 3. Then we replace the subtree with the improved decomposition from the SAT solver, which in this case doesn't affect the subtree, and we contract the 3 vertices to a single vertex D, label it with the depth 1, and add an ancestry constraint from B to D because of the 2 dotted blue edges in the heuristic decomposition. Then we again pick a subtree, which in this case is the entire remaining decomposition, and we improve it using the SAT solver, which gives us this subtree. Note that without the ancestry constraint between B and D, the SAT solver could have provided a better solution. And now, since we encountered a subtree containing the root, we stop the contraction phase and start with the expansion. So in this case, there's only one node to expand, which is the vertex D, and this is the final improved decomposition. We implemented the algorithm using Python, and this is the rest of the experimental setup. As the input to the algorithm, we used the 200 public instances that were made available as a part of the PACE Challenge 2020. And to compare different starting heuristics. We had the naive depth first search heuristic and one of the separator based heuristics. We also performed a small experiment with the winner of the PACE challenge heuristics track called Extreme. And here are the results. So we have the instances from the PACE challenge on the left. The two heuristics we compared were the DFS heuristic and the separator heuristic. For each of these heuristics, we compared the starting tree depth, the final tree depth, and the relative improvement. And here are the numbers for the DFS heuristic, and here are the numbers for the separator heuristic. And the relative improvement over the DFS heuristic was on average 52%, and over the separator heuristic was on average 29%. Notice how most of the graphs on this list would have been impractical to solve by just using the SAT encoding. Further, we were able to improve over the solution provided by Extreme in 6 instances within the same time limit as the PACE challenge, and in 3 of these 6 instances we were able to achieve a better depth than all the 55 participants from the PACE challenge. To summarize, our contributions include a MaxSat based algorithm for computing heuristic tree depth and introducing a generalized version of tree depth along with the SAT encoding. We implemented and analyzed the proposed algorithm and observed that it improves over these heuristics in most cases. It even improves over the winner of PACE in some cases. And finally, as part of the future work, we plan to perform a systematic study of the impact of the starting heuristic with more sophisticated heuristics. We plan on trying to adapt the existing SAT encoding to work with incremental solving techniques. And finally, we can look into finding new symmetry breaking techniques to speed up the SAT solving further. Thank you for your attention.